Hello and welcome to another video of mine where we talk about how songwriting and journaling can help us in a therapeutic way. My name is Anja, I'm a singer-songwriter with a personality development coaching background, and today I want to talk about how a specific way of journaling and then that combined with songwriting helps me when it comes to limiting beliefs, and I have a lot of them. Not the first time that I say that creativity and self-reflection go hand in hand for me, and that songwriting started out as a form of journaling for me and then led into costume songwriting, songwriting for artists, started writing songs that I actually released then, and all that kind of stuff. But first of all, songwriting was and still is a self-development tool for me. I wanted to make this video because I realized I have one limiting belief that I carry with me every single day. And that is called, I'm not enough. And I guess I'm not the only one out there who struggles with thinking about how I'm not good enough and all these issues that come along with the limiting belief. And believe me, it's limiting when you believe about yourself that you're not enough every single day. I want to talk about three things mainly. First one is how to detect your limiting beliefs, because I feel like a lot of the time we spend our lives not knowing what actually limits us because we don't search for the things that are going on beneath. So how to detect your limiting beliefs. And the second one would be how to deal with the emotional side of it, because trust me, when you find one of these limiting beliefs and you sit down with yourself and you have this honest moment, there are going to be emotions and often they're not very nice. So how to deal with that and how to cope with that. And then the third step would be how to deal with it. Now that you've detected what's going on and then you've dealt with the emotional side of it, how can you move on and how can you reprogram your brain and your behavior and your way of thinking? That's it. If you want to work with me through that, do so. You're welcome to do so. That would mean that you take your journal now. You need that, and I'll lead you through every step of the way. You also can jump from section to section in the video, or you save it for later and you come back whenever you've done one of the steps. Yeah, just feel free. This could be a little bit complex. I'm not sure yet. Let's see how it works out. But yeah, feel free to come back and to work with this video about whatever you want to discover about yourself and overcome and move on from. Like I said, for me, the combination of journaling and songwriting works very well. So this is what we are going to do. You don't have to be a songwriter for this. You can just try yourself in a poem. It just takes a little bit of time. And honesty, that's the most important thing about this video, I guess. Okay, first step would be how to detect a limiting belief. Whenever I sit down to journal, it happens a lot when I don't feel well, then I try to find one sentence or one statement that is bothering me right now. What's the problem? And then I work from there. And now I will do that with you step by step, and you can find your own statement. Just work with me along these steps and pause the video whenever you want. I will do that with my limiting belief that I feel like I'm not enough, and I hope you'll get it. First thing to do is to write down your statement or your issue that you have. For example, I would write down, that's a thing that just happened recently and I'm not unfamiliar with that situation. Whenever I have a costume song to write for other people, I procrastinate about it and I don't feel good about procrastinating. So I sit down and I'm like, what's the issue here? I write down, I don't want to start writing song XYZ. And then what I do, I ask myself one question 5 times. I ask myself why 5 times, and I ask, reply, ask, reply, ask, reply. Why do I do that? That is a good way of digging a little to get to the stuff that is suppressed and that is covered under, I don't know, other emotions or thoughts or whatever. So let's go through these 5 whys. My statement, I don't want to write this song. First question, first why. Why? I don't feel motivated. That's usually the first thing I think. So I write down, I don't feel motivated. Why is that? Why? I feel like this takes way more motivation than songwriting should, or more than it used to. Okay, why? Why is that? Because it's not only about my expectations, but about someone else's. And that is a very subjective. So I don't know if I can trust my songwriting guts, which makes me feel under pressure. Okay, why? Because most of the time, when it comes to songwriting, the other person, are emotionally invested and it's about their taste, not mine. And I don't want to disappoint them. Okay, why? Because I am afraid that they would think that I'm not doing a good job or that I'm not good enough. A lot to discover here, but actually what we do, we have an honest conversation with ourselves. Why are you thinking or feeling the way you do? And you trick yourself into going deeper and deeper with each why that you ask. In my case, the result is, okay, I'm afraid that I'm not good enough. And the ironic thing about that is that since I'm blocked to do anything, because I'm afraid that I'm not good enough, I don't do the thing that helps me with my self-esteem. Because I would actually write songs and do get into the situation over and over again to build up my self-esteem, to then someday feel like I'm good enough, and then I wouldn't even have the issue of not starting the song. The whole chain reaction wouldn't start, right? So that is like the circle I'm. And maybe now you detect that you have a pattern in your behavior that leads back to one limiting thought or belief that you have. In my case, that is the case. I've journaled with the 5 why method a lot of times, and a lot of times it comes down to I don't feel like I'm good enough, or I think I'm not good enough. So first time using the 5 whys, I was like, oh, okay, well, that's interesting, talking to yourself in that way. And after doing it a bunch of times and then realizing it always comes down to the same belief system and the same beliefs that I have, it's like, well, okay, I guess more and more how much it limits me having these thoughts about myself, how universal it manipulates my life. And a lot of emotions come with that normally. Whenever I have realizations like that, and maybe you have right now as well, sometimes it helps to talk about that with someone first. Or you go into the next step, which would be dealing with the emotions that come up now. And in my case, that is songwriting then. Why is the songwriting thing helpful in the next step? Or how can it be helpful to you? It doesn't have to be songwriting. It can be try to write a poem first, maybe if you are not used to songwriting or you haven't tried it before, but also feel welcome to try and let me know how it went in the comments. But yeah, I have actually 3 reasons why now songwriting makes sense. I have to limit myself a little. I know what's going on now. In songwriting or in poem writing, you have to choose your words wisely. So it's another step of reflecting what are the things I really want to say, and limit yourself to say the right thing with only a few words. And then again, what also is like a good exercise for the brain, making that rhyme. Most of the songs have a rhyme pattern. Then again, usually songs are not very long. They fit into 3 minutes usually. Then again, we know that Taylor Swift also copes with stuff in her life and makes 10-minute versions of her songs, which is great. So she totally can do that as well. Why not? If she can, why can't we? Talk about how it makes you feel like. That's everything that belongs into songs and into poems. Another important thing about the songwriting itself is you also have melody and chords and sounds that can help you show emotion in another way, which is so beautiful because it's just your color palette is so much bigger. In my case, about the I don't feel like I'm enough thing, I've journaled for years about that. So in this case, the song Enough, quick story time. I wrote the song one night before the next round of a casting show. In the first round, I never thought I'm like gonna make it into the next round. So I don't know why, but I decided to sing one of my own songs, an original song, which I've never done before. I've never released anything up till this point. And I was just like, well, I feel like I should sing this song of mine. And I did. And people were like, well, you are a really good songwriter. And that was the first time I've ever heard someone say that. And then I made it into the next round and they told me to write a song about that as well. And I was like, what the? I'm not a songwriter. I just do that like behind closed doors. So I don't feel like I'm good enough. And there is that opportunity now and I don't know if I can make it and ... Let's go into the lyrics a little. Because once you journal about stuff a lot, for me then lyrics or songs are just at the top of my fingers. And this song took me like 20 minutes to write. And in the song I say, what do you do when something is calling you? The voice in your head keeps it inside and tries to hide the dream. Because there is fear and I'm scared to reach for something more because I'm still not sure if I am enough. Am I enough? Am I enough? Am I enough? And then the second verse, because it was about having a career in music, maybe starting this whole thing now that is songwriting publicly, and I wanted to do that forever. It's just such a childish dream, or it was a childish dream to me, so that's why I'm singing in the second verse. What do you do when people tell you to stop because like it's foolish and it's childish, you know, and there's no money in music and all these kind of things people tell you. Dreaming is for children and now it's time to finally wake up. You will not make it to the top because it takes more than some talent that you have in your blood. Connections, it takes money. All these kind of things that that held me back. All these beliefs that held me back. Wrote all down in that song, and afterwards I felt better. Oh yeah, there is a bridge that is very, very Disney. That's the turning point kind of thing where I'm like, I'm enough, you'll see, I will be the greatest version I can be, and I'm enough, you'll see, I will be the greatest version of me. It sounds very cheesy, but till this point, this is what I'm trying to do. I try to be the best version that I can be, and songwriting and journaling helps me to get there. So yeah, that's the second step of dealing with limiting beliefs, because after writing the song, dealing with these emotions, I went into the next round and I qualified for the next round. So everything worked out, which is ironic because I wrote myself through the limiting belief I'm not enough with writing about how I feel, which then enabled me to do the stuff I was afraid of. Now that maybe you sat down and wrote a poem or a song and you're back in this video, what's the next thing? How do you move on now? Because just because you've detected the belief system that you have and just because you work through emotional stuff, it's not gone. A lot of the stuff we do is based in routines that we have, and we have patterns in our behavior that are not gone just like that because of the fact that you realize what's going on. The next thing actually would be to set a new belief for yourself that you want to build a routine around. But what is the thing that I actually want to believe? I actually want to believe that I'm enough and that I do things well and that I'm good at what I do. I don't know what helps you right now. Just write down a bunch of sentences or reframe that, or like rewrite it. Instead of I'm not good enough, write I'm good enough. I'm enough for myself. Rewrite the sentence and write the sentence that you want to have. In my case, one thing helped me a lot: allowing to get rejected. And that stuck with me because I was like, what if I would be okay with getting rejected and maybe, in fact, not being good enough for certain things? Wouldn't I do so much more and risk so much more because I wouldn't be afraid of getting rejected? So that is the sentence I took. I allow myself to get rejected, and it doesn't mean that I'm not good enough. That helped me a lot, and that is a thing that I've written down in my journal a bunch of times. Every morning when I start journaling, I'm like, you are enough, and it's okay to get rejected. This is the sentence that I've wrote down over and over again. What also helps, what I do sometimes if I want to change a belief that I have, is that I do like hand lettering of that sentence I want to have, and then I take that as my lock screen, because I look at it whenever I open my phone. Okay, a lot we've talked about. What did we talk about? First thing is, ask yourself, what's the issue here? And then have a conversation with yourself, why. Go deeper and deeper with asking yourself the question why 5 times to really get to the cure. What is it actually? Then sit through it. It might be painful, but deal with the emotion. Write a song, write a poem, maybe go talk to someone, whatever you feel like would help you the most now. And once you've worked through the emotional stuff and you have everything out of your system, then you have the space in your brain and in your heart to change something. And you have the energy again to change something because it's not holding you back that much. And then you tell yourself what the new belief is, and that you practice, and that you read and you say to yourself over and over again until it sticks with you. And it takes a while, and it's fine, because we are human and change takes some time. Don't be too hard on yourself when it's not working one day after discovering that whole thing. It takes some time to rebuild muscles in our, like the muscle that is our brain, to think in a new way. That's what helped me to feel more enough than I used to, even though I'm not there yet. But that's what I just said. I try not to be too hard with myself. And I hope that you like this video. I hope that you find this video helpful. And I'm curious what you want to work through or what you discovered. Feel free to comment down below or go on Instagram and talk to me via voice message. I'd love to hear about your story. I want to upload more and more videos that combine journaling, songwriting, personality development, and I want to go through all these things with you together because I'm in the middle of it, and I know that some of you are as well, so I hope that we can help each other. Thanks for watching the video again, and have fun writing your own story. Bye!